Hello again, welcome to Fish Your Fitness Coaching Podcast. This is, episode 8, I think? That's good, isn't it? 8 in a row. I'm trying my very best to keep it to one a week. And it's going alright so far, I think. Hope you're good. Thank you for listening again. This week I'm going to talk about the 7 things, at least 7 things I wish I knew before or when I started the gym. So if you are someone who is looking to start or is fairly new to training in the gym, or even if you are fairly experienced to training in the gym, there might be a few things in here which may surprise you, and you may get some benefit from. So I'm going to go through. I've written down here 7 things I wish I knew when I started the gym, and yeah, some of them might surprise you. So let's go into it, I suppose. Let's go straight in. Is there anything else I've got to say before we start? Probably not. Right. The first one which is, again, it's taken me a while to realise. But the first one, number 1, is you don't have to bench press, squat, or deadlift if you don't want to. With these 3 exercises, they're like the main big king of all exercises, right? Everyone thinks that they need to be done in the gym in order to build as much muscle as possible and, to become as strong as possible. When in reality, if we're talking about a muscle building standpoint, if we're talking purely muscle growth, these 3 exercises actually probably aren't the most beneficial for you. They're not optimal for muscle growth. They're great for strength, yes, of course they are. And if you are wanting to become a powerlifter, then obviously you need to do these 3 exercises because powerlifting is based off these 3 exercises: bench, squat, and deadlift. But if we talk about a muscle building aspect, they're not there. Yes, obviously they're going to build some muscle, but they're not optimal. Okay, so if we start with bench press, or any of these 3 exercises, they're very big. They're big compound exercises. They produce a lot of fatigue. They tire you out, right? And when we're looking at muscle growth or hypertrophy, it's about putting tension or mechanical tension or stress within a target muscle, within a specific target muscle. So if we want to grow your bicep, for example, you need to do an exercise which is very concentrated, which puts stress on the bicep. If we think about a pull-up, yes, the bicep is involved, but most of the stress is placed upon the lats, the big back muscle. Yes, there is some stress on the bicep, but not too much. This is why pull-ups are probably not that great for bicep muscle growth. Yes, you get some growth, not loads. So if you talk about bench press, very, very good exercise for strength, for a horizontal pushing strength. So if you want to get stronger at pushing heavy things away from you, great, then bench press is amazing. And remember, yes, you will get some muscle growth within the chest, front of the shoulders and triceps, but not a massive amount, and it's not optimal. Obviously, if you bench press heavy and you get stronger at bench press, yes, you're going to build a bigger chest. That's completely normal, and that's expected. But is it optimal? Probably not, because the range of movement isn't there, and the amount of stress is, especially on deadlift and squat, the amount of stress is not concentrated enough on a specific muscle. Out of the 3, bench press is probably the most beneficial for muscle growth. Squats, deadlift, not so much. Again, with squat, yes, you're going to get some muscle growth on your quad and on your glutes, depending on your anatomy. So without going into too much depth, if someone has quite long femurs like myself, we tend to squat and we tend to go into a lot of hip flexion, which in turn is going to put a lot of stress or more stress on the glutes. Okay, if someone has very good ankle mobility and is quite short femurs, then when they squat, they're going to have quite a lot of knee flexion, which is going to in turn put more stress on the quads. So the squat is very dependent on the person. For some people, it can be more glute focused. For others, it can be more quad focused. But because the stress on when doing the squat is it's spread out throughout a lot of the body, it may not be optimal for muscle growth, for leg development. And also, they're very, very fatiguing. The squat, deadlift, and bench, very, very fatiguing exercises. So we need to take into account fatigue, level of fatigue, and recovery when doing these exercises, especially if you have other stressful things going on in your life. So when doing a squat, yes, you can put lots of tension under the muscle, or lots of load, under the muscle. But it's also going to potentially, over time, put stress on the connective tissue as well. Okay, so there are lots of things to take into account. In summary, on this point, you don't have to do bench press, squat, or deadlift if you don't want to. They're not amazing for muscle growth, but they're great for strength. So if we look at a ratio of strength to muscle growth, with these exercises, I would always go around, it's about 75% strength, 25% muscle growth, hypertrophy. So yes, you will get some muscle growth from these exercises if you do everything right, like if you take the reps or the sets close to failure, if your technique is good, if you progressively overload the exercises, if you have a lot of protein, your recovery and sleep is good, yes, you're going to get some growth. But to have this misconception that you have to do these exercises in the gym if you want to get the best results is completely false. When I started off, I thought you had to do bench press. I was doing bench press all the time. Whenever I went to the gym, I went to the bench press straight away because I wanted a big chest. Most guys do. I can actually remember I can remember my actual routine when I first started training, and that was when I was about 18. Very skinny guy, like I always say. I used to go straight to the row machine, warm up on the row for 5 minutes, and then I'd go obviously straight to the bench press. I'd maybe do 3, 4, 5 sets, 8 to 10 reps, increasing the load every single time. So without even knowing, I was progressively overloading, and I was taking my working sets close to failure. Because I thought you had to, right? And you kind of do in a way, but I didn't really know what I was doing. And because of that, I did build some muscle. Because if you are someone who is starting out at the gym, you don't actually have to do that much in order to build muscle, because it's called newbie gains. You put your muscles under any sort of stimulus, they're going to grow. They're going to adapt from that stimulus. It's when you get more experience, that's when you have to put a lot more focus into your structure, into your training, into your recovery, your nutrition, all that kind of stuff. So if you are new to the gym, then you're in a good place, because you just start lifting weights literally any way you want, you're going to get some results. Enjoy that period of your life, of your lifting life. It doesn't last. So bench press, squat, deadlift, you don't have to do these exercises. If you don't like doing them, you don't have to do them. There are other variations you can do. For example, bench press, you could swap that with a dumbbell bench press. You can do cable press, machine chest press, push-ups, you can do dips, lots of different movements you can do instead of the barbell bench press. But remember, if you are looking to get stronger at the bench press, then obviously you need to do that exercise. If you are looking to get into powerlifting, you would need to do bench press because there is a specific technique you need to learn. With squat, if you don't want to do squats, you don't have to. You may not feel comfortable doing a squat. I don't really feel comfortable doing squats. I don't really like the feeling. They're okay. I do them because I want to get. I want to stay fairly competent at doing squats. I'm a coach, so I need to be doing them fairly often, so I can sort of, I need to be seen to do squats fairly well, so I can teach them to other people. But if you don't want to do a squat, you can do a goblet squat, you can do single leg stuff, split squats, you can do leg press, hack squat, belt squat. You can do, leg extensions, leg curls. Okay, deadlifts. If you don't want to do deadlifts, you can do Romanian deadlifts, you can do stiff leg deadlifts, you can do back extensions, hip thrusts. Yes, the deadlift, the deadlift is very good. It's for overall strength, it's amazing. Picking heavy bar up from the floor is great for overall strength, core strength, stability, mobility. It's awesome. It's an awesome exercise. But again, not everyone will be built to do an exercise like a deadlift comfortably. You may need to adjust your foot stance. You may need to, you may need to get a coach to go through the technique to make various adjustments in order for you to feel comfortable doing a lift such as the deadlift. All right, I've probably gone on a bit too much of this, but yeah, you don't have to do these exercises. There are other ways to get round stimulating similar muscles. Okay, next point is, this may be a long one. What's it, 13 minutes already? Okay, I need to be quick. I need to try and get it under 20 minutes. So the next one, machines like chest press machine, or machines which are in the gym where most people say they're for beginners, is absolute rubbish. Machines are great for everyone and should be used more. The best bodybuilders in the world use machines, and there's a reason for that. I use machines, I think they're great. There are countless benefits of using fixed machines in the gym. So when I say machines, I mean like a chest press, like a shoulder press, a lat pull down. Machines which are built for a specific movement and purpose, and to work a specific muscle. So if we take chest press, for example, right? It's the same movement as a bench press, but that machine is built to work the chest, the front of the shoulders, and some of the triceps, but mainly the chest. So obviously if they're built for this exercise, they're going to be pretty safe. So they are safer than free weights. So yes, they are great for beginners, but they're also great for advanced lifters, because when you're fatigued after a pretty heavy session and you want to destroy your chest, you want to really get some pretty decent stimulus on the chest, you could just jump on the chest press and you can overload the muscle. You can take your working sets close or literally to failure without risking injury, because once you fatigue, once you fail, you just fail the lift. There's no way of dropping the weight on your head or your neck or your chest. There's limited chance of pulling a muscle because you just push, right? And all the biomechanics are designed to go a certain way. So it's very unlikely you're going to injure yourself on a machine. So there's less risk of injury. You can take your working sets closer to failure. You can overload the working muscle without hindering technique. Okay, and also they're very, very quick to set up. If you're running out of time in the gym, if you are lacking time. So if someone says to me, look, I want to train 3 times a week, but I've got literally about 45 minutes max in the gym, I'll put them on machines. Why not? You can just jump on the machine, you can pull the pin out, put the weight, choose the weight, and you go for it. Whereas with dumbbells and the bench press, you've got to set up the bar, you got to go and pick up the plates, the dumbbells, take them over to the bench, get set up, etc. It takes more time. So it's very, very quick, time efficient to just jump on a machine, smash out some reps, have a little rest, go again. It's easy, it's quick, less risk of injury, you can overload the muscle, and yeah, machines are great, so use them. Don't be afraid to use machines. Okay, third point, you don't have to spend 3 hours, like I said before, you don't have to spend 3 hours in the gym doing every exercise imaginable. Like, you see these ridiculous exercises people do with like BOSU balls while doing an arm curl, or like a BOSU ball squat while doing a lateral raise or something ridiculous. It's just there. It's just gimmicky. It's there to look good, so it attracts people over to that exercise. You got to keep the exercises simple. If you think about your body's planes of movement, on what sensible, what safe movements can your body realistically do? If you start with your arms, it's a vertical push-pull, it's a horizontal push-pull, it's a hip hinge, it's a squat movement, it's a lunge, it's a rotation, and you basically, you incorporate those movements into the gym while lifting or moving external load. That's all you're doing. So don't think like you have to copy all these other trainers or people in the gym doing these crazy exercises which just look not even good. They just look different. So the thing is, people get attracted to these exercises because they think it's doing something different. It's not. If anything, it's not doing anything. It's doing worse than just simply jumping on a bench press or on a leg press and, doing the basic movements. So more is not necessarily superior. Okay, so doing, like, sometimes less is more. I'd rather get you in the gym and give you a horizontal push, a vertical pull, and a squat movement, for example. Do those 3 exercises very, very well with good technique, full active range of movement, taking your working set closer to failure than doing 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 pointless exercises which just aren't going to give you the right sort of stimulus to elicit growth or any sort of adaptation. Right, so it's better for you to go in the gym and do less movements well than it is to do more movements worse, if that makes sense. So less is more. So do less but better. For example, a push-up. Right, I'd rather see you do a decent full range push-up. It's better, for example, seeing you do 2 full reps of a push-up than seeing you do 12 to 15 half reps with, your elbows sticking out and putting too much stress on the shoulder and just not much stimulus in the chest. And, with your core disengaged, all that kind of stuff, So do less but better. Less is more. Don't feel like you have to do every exercise you've ever seen in half an hour. Okay, you don't have to go in and get your heart rate really high. You don't have to walk out feeling absolutely knackered, dripping with sweat. Okay, it doesn't work like that. Fourth reason, you don't have to have a protein shake within 35 minutes after your workout to get the most muscle growth due to the quote unquote anabolic window. This is something I used to always think, because I remember being in the gym. I used to go to the UEA gym in Norwich, the sports park. This is years ago now, but I used to see this guy, like, now knowing he was heavily on steroids, but I thought, he looks huge. I see him drinking a protein shake as he's walking out of the gym. I remember him saying to me, because when you're a kid, you're skinny and you look up to these big guys, like, not knowing they're on steroids. Yes, they still have to work a little bit, but anyway, you look up to them, and I remember him saying to me, he was shaking his protein shaker, downing it after his workout, and he said, "Cut it in you. You got to cut it in you, like really, really, really Norfolk." And I was like, yeah, I need to get some protein. And that's what I did. I started nicking my brother's protein powder. He probably won't hear this, so yeah, I started, as I was going home, as I went home from the gym, first thing I did, I nicked a protein shake, and I built muscle. I got bigger. It wasn't because I was having that protein shake an hour after the workout. It was because I was increasing my protein intake, and that's all you need to worry about. As long as you get your overall protein target and you spread it evenly throughout the day, then that's fine. You don't have to have it straight after your workout. Yes, I mean it's probably more beneficial having it within 2 hours after your workout to maximize muscle protein synthesis, but don't stress about having it straight after. Like don't think, oh, I haven't got my protein shake today, so I can't work out. That's rubbish. You just still go to the gym, train, and just get some protein in on your next meal. Don't stress about it. There's no such thing as an anabolic window, okay? So get your protein target, divide it by how many meals and snacks you're going to have a day, and have that much in each meal. So if your protein target's 130 grams, you would divide that by, say, 4 meals. What's that? 35 grams, easy. 35 grams of protein in each meal, each day. 35 breakfast, 35 a snack, 35 lunch, 35 dinner. Perfect. This moves me on to the next point, BCAAs. BCAAs a few years ago were huge. I think it's becoming a bit of more knowledge that they're pretty pointless, really. If your protein target, if you hit your protein target, BCAAs are literally pointless, so don't bother wasting your money. Again, I've been to a lot of nutrition and fitness conferences and seminars in the past. I went to one about 10 years ago in London. No, it wasn't Nottingham. Anyway, there's these two bodybuilder guys, quite well known actually. Ryan Terry, he was there, and a guy called Kirk Miller. And this was, bearing in mind, this was 10 years ago, so the research wasn't, this was old research. So they used to always say, like, take BCAAs when you're training because it protects the muscle. It's bollocks. But back then, I was like, yeah, sweet, BCAAs, I need some. So I started to buy BCAAs, I started drinking them during my workout. And yes, obviously, it increases your protein intake because BCAAs, branched chain amino acids, it's just broken down protein. All right, it's just like how glucose is broken down carbohydrates, right? It's just a smaller version, it's a broken down version of protein. So as long as you get your daily protein in, you don't have to worry about BCAAs. Save your money. Talking about saving money, my next point is, and some people are going to hate me for this, pre-workouts are pointless. Okay? Waste of money again. It's full of stuff you don't need. The only thing you need as a pre-workout is caffeine and creatine. Yes, there are some research on other ingredients such as citrulline malate and what is that one that makes your face tingle? Oh my god, I should know this. I actually brought up my own pre-workout when I had my supplement company. Oh my god, it's gone from my head. I can't think. Anyway, citrulline malate has got some research. Creatine is the most researched supplement on the market. It's the most beneficial. So take 5 grams of creatine per day. And caffeine, again, very well researched, very good for you in sensible doses. So if you want to save yourself a lot of money, stop buying pre-workouts. You don't need them. All you need is some caffeine and some creatine. Literally buying some Pro Plus. It's a caffeine tablet. It's literally about, 50p, £1. You take one tablet before you work out, a scoop of creatine in a drink, you're fine. You'll have energy, you'll have the creatine, which will help you lift more, building more muscle. It's all you need. Don't worry about these other supplements until you've got everything else in order first. So things like your sleep, your stress management, your protein, your training, your recovery, all that kind of stuff. The basics need to be nailed first before you start investing and thinking about these other supplements. Even creatine, like, yes, it's beneficial, but if you haven't got these other things set first, then I wouldn't worry about it. So save your money, stop buying pre-workouts, just get yourself a sugar-free Monster or something and a scoop of creatine. 5 grams per day is all you need. And the final point is, and I've known this for a while, but again, back in the day, I didn't really care. Alcohol and a lack of sleep severely impairs your muscle building potential. Massively. Okay, so if we, like, the two go hand in hand. Alcohol disrupts your sleep. If you have disrupted sleep, you're not going to recover from your previous training sessions. If you haven't recovered properly, you're going to be tired and you're not going to put in enough intensity on your subsequent sessions. So too much alcohol disrupts your sleep. You don't sleep enough. You don't recover. Your muscles don't adapt from your training sessions. If you have shit sleep, you're going to be tired, so you're not going to put in the amount of intensity you need to cause adaptations to your muscles when you're resting, when you're recovering, okay? And also about alcohol is, it's a downer. It puts you in a shit mood for a few days after you go out drinking. So yes, you're going to work out a little bit, but are you really going to put as much effort as you need into those sessions? Probably not. Alcohol has I don't know if this is something I've just made up or I've read it before. It could potentially cause muscles to break down. I'll get back to you on that one. I'll look into it, because that sounds quite far-fetched. It could be true. It may not. Don't hold me to that. I will look into it and I'll confirm. I might have read it somewhere, might have heard it on a different podcast. But anyway, it does massively disrupt your sleep. Okay, so reduce the alcohol consumption. Yes, you can still drink every now and then, but if your main goal is to build muscle, then you need to have it in moderation. Going out every weekend, binging on booze and getting in at 3, 4, 5 a.m. probably isn't a good idea. Probably isn't the best idea you've ever had. Focus more on sleep. So you need to put more focus on sleep and stop drinking so much if you want to build muscle and lose fat as well. Because again, with alcohol, it increases your calorie consumption, it impedes your decision making. You end up eating more because you don't really give a shit when you're drunk, do you? You get the munchies, you start eating loads of shit. Your calorie consumption skyrockets. You quite easily go into a surplus, which means you start gaining body fat. You get tired, you get miserable, you don't train as much, you don't train as hard, you don't sleep, so you don't recover. You don't recover, so you don't build muscle. It has an ongoing snowball effect. So if you're really serious about building muscle, we need to reduce the alcohol and focus a lot more on sleep. So when you're focusing on sleep, I mean, 7 to 9 decent hours per night. If you have kids, I know it's a different story, so try and sleep as much as you can if you have young children. But ways you can improve your sleep, you can make sure your bedroom's cool. I know it's quite hard nowadays in this temperature, especially when it's so humid, but investing in an aircon unit for your bedroom, making sure there's no light in the room, making sure there's no phone use before bed, no TV, reading a book, reading a fictional book to relax your mind. You can try and meditate, you can listen to white noise, or I think it's brown noise nowadays. I think brown noise is pretty effective for helping you get to sleep because it blocks out other noise and helps your mind rest, stops you from sort of your mind going 100 miles an hour. I use white noise. I use rain sounds, so I'd use Alexa rain sounds. It's probably going to set off my so I use it every night. It helps me massively because my mind is quite active. So those are the main 7 things I wish I knew before I started the train. So there are the 7 main things I wish I knew when I started training all those years ago. So I hope this helps. Even if you got one decent thing from this, that's my job done. So I hope you enjoyed it. I'll be talking to you again next week. I'm not sure what I'm going to talk about yet, but it will be something hopefully fairly useful. Remember to subscribe and like and share this to your Instagram stories to help me increase the amount of listeners. Just helps me with my business. If you have any questions about online coaching, please let me know. I'm available to chat on Instagram, Facebook. You can email me. My Instagram is, I'm sure you know what my Instagram is, but it's fisher.fitness.coaching. Drop me a DM on there, have a chat, and we'll talk about your goals and how I can help you achieve them. And if you know of anyone who may find this useful, send this on to them. You can you can listen to it on Amazon Music, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. There we go. So thanks again for listening, and I will speak to you all next week.